so coffee tastes mighty good. That's not the reason why I've gotta get back up to that sugar shack.
Hey everyone, Jim Tedesco here, and welcome to Millennium County RR version 2.0. This is part 2 of my tip-up, pass-through. So, without any further ado, let's get right on it. Alright, part 2. Part 2 it is. So, this is what we've done so far. I went ahead and put the top up here on this, just on this lift-out section. It's all set up now, and I went ahead and change this thing so I can see what the hell I'm doing here. Alright, you can see here and here there are two locating pins. So when this comes down, it drops right in place. It's pretty solid, it's not going anywhere. So, that takes care of that end of it anyway. I also got the legs down here. You zoom back out of this. And swing all the way down. So I've got the legs and they're actually screwed into the floor and into that table benchtop extension. Now I'm going to go ahead and cover this with fiberboard. That's what I'll do next. So as soon as I get that done, we'll turn the camera back on and see what it looks like. Stand by. Okay, and we're back. I had everything covered, at least on this side. I didn't do the other side yet. I'll do that tomorrow, but it'll look just like the front here. And it looks pretty good if you ask me. And pan over here. Got the leg is covered up. Top is on completely. And works like a dream. So without me getting in the way over here. But it's worked out really nice. You've got the pins over here. It'll keep it lined up all the time. Drops right down. It's all nice and even. Everything's level. Pretty close to level anyway. This table is a hair bit lower, this bench is, than this one, which is no big deal really. I mean, it's off by maybe, you know, a 1/16 of an inch maybe, or an 1/8, I don't know. That's where that laser level that Tom Kavicek bought would have really been handy. But I didn't have one yet, so I had to make do with the old bubble level. I have this one and I have a 4-foot one. And it did the job for what I needed it to do, so no big deal, but you know, it would have been more accurate if I'd had that laser level. I could have done a perfect job, because I just sat that thing here and shot both walls and the back wall, and it would have been perfect. So anyway, that's where we're at so far with that. Let me swing back around here, get my ugly mug in the picture. There we go. So, it's pretty late now. It's 5:15. I don't think I'm going to be doing much more tonight. I've been on this a good part of it. Well, since around noon. I had to run down to the hardware store and get some things, so I needed the dowel pins. I was going to use the shelf pins, but I went to a hardware store because it's a lot closer than the Home Depot, and They didn't have those. All they had was they had one that slides in, but then had a big flat on it, so that like a glass shelf would sit on it. No, that's not what I need. That won't work. So, I mean, it probably could have, but it would have been a bear to glue them, and I would have had to epoxy them in place, and it would have been more of a hassle than it's worth. These are great. They're glued in with wood glue. They're not going anywhere. I mean, I think the only way you'd break one is if you literally fell into the pass-through or ran into it, which I'm not likely to do that. and that would cause a lot more damage than just those pins, I'm sure. So tomorrow we'll probably start laying the road bed for the track work, and that's going to be tricky too, because you know, one of the things I've got here is, in fact, I was just looking at that, and I'm going to have to make a change right off the bat here. Because I've got to, see if I can point to this here. Right here, well, maybe it depends. Because I've got this turnout here. This is a right-hand turnout. And that's actually going to go right here. And I might be able to shorten that curve up. I'll have to rebuild the ramp and all, which is no big deal. But yeah, if I do that, then I won't have to work it out. Notwithstanding, I might have to come out here with it and build like a platform, but I'd rather not. So this might just work this way. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll see. But that's kind of the plan. Like I said, I've got to have a pretty sweeping turn. It's got to be at least 28 degrees or 28 inches, whichever the proper terminology is. Preferably 30, so that my steam engine will make it around it. Not only that, but the passenger cars, which are fairly long, they would have a problem too on a shorter curve. And that's why I made the passenger rail all 30-degree radius at all four corners. So, and that's not going to change. But I may have to, I'm going to have to widen the radius on the two freight rails. And these ones over here are going to have to be moved anyway, because they're just too close. Well, this is coming out really nice so far. I'm happy with it. I don't know why I didn't do this in the first place. You know, I get an idea, but I said, oh, we'll go with that. And then, you know, as always, well, that really didn't work out the way I planned it to. And like I said, I had a rubberized wheel on the bottom of the swing out. And I was texting or replying to Dave Thurber at Crooked River, and because he was telling us some things, and I actually did copy him on some of the stuff he did, like where the rails were, we put wood screws into the wood and actually soldered the rails to the wood screws, which would have been fine, except for that wheel. Now the problem with the wheel is, you know, this is not a sterile environment by any stretch. I don't think any train room is going to be, whether it be in your basement, your attic, a shed, your living room, whatever. You're always going to have dust on the floor. Well, that rubber wheel was picking up a lot of dust. And it actually threw the vertical track alignment almost about a 64th of an inch. Just enough to cause problems. I mean, yeah, I could have got down and cleaned it like every other day. But that would have been foolish. So, if you're working with any kind of a wheel, and mine wasn't adjustable either, it was fixed, you know, swivel, but you couldn't move it up or down. If you're running a fixed wheel on your swing out, keep that in mind that you may have problems with track alignment. If you don't have that leg, it's light enough and you've got good solid hinges and it's free floating, you won't have that problem. My assembly was so heavy I had to have the leg and the wheel, because it would actually droop. And because I've also got, you know, most people's pass-throughs, whether it be a swing out or whatever, generally limited to 36 inches or less. Well, mine was, almost 48, 49 inches. That's a long pass-through. And that's another reason why I added this extension on here to shorten the tip up, because otherwise I'd have been hitting the ceiling. When I flipped it up, and that would have been a problem too. So it all worked out good for me, but for anybody who's thinking about doing this in the future, if you're going to do a swing out, keep those things in mind. Make sure it's free floating, because if you got a wheel on the floor, it's going to cause you problems. And if you're doing a tip up, this is probably I guess probably the best way to do it, as far as I can say. I watched everybody else's, and James Galton, I looked at his, and I was really impressed with his. And his is much bigger than mine, as far as width goes. I don't think the length's that much more. Probably actually shorter. I didn't really pay much attention, but he did a nice job on his tilt up. And you're better off to tilt up than tilt down. Back in Naples, I had a drop down. And I had a lot of problems with that too. Once again, track alignment was a big issue, even though they were almost pretty much straight on. But I had my track overhanging where the table dropped down. And if you weren't careful, you'd run into it, cut your side open on the rails, and plus mess up the track. So with this here, you're really that's not going to be a problem, because if there's any protruding rails, which there will be, they'll be on the flip up, and they'll be up and out of the way, and there's no way you're going to run into it. So these are the little things I had to think about. And like I said, for anybody who's going to attempt to do something like this, one way or the other, whether it be a tip up or a swing out, really pay attention to what you're doing, and keep in mind that it doesn't take much to throw off track alignment. And the track alignment things, that, and I can't remember the name of it at all for the life of me. James Galton has. They're, like I said, they're really cool. They're handy, but they're pricey for what they are. And I mean, it's basically just a piece of PC board with like a jigsaw cut out on it, and it interlocks together, and you solder it up underneath the rails. It's a great idea, but I mean, come on, $12 for a couple of pair of them, that's a lot of money. And the shipping actually costs more than the parts do. It would have cost me $40 to get as many, because I would have needed 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I would have needed 14 pairs. Well, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would have needed 7 pairs. And so I would have had to spend about $24 for the actual parts, and another $10 to ship it. And it was close to 40 on then tax, and well, because they got their VAT tax over there. It's just ridiculous. And nobody here in the state sells them. So it's a great idea, but realistically, seriously overpriced. I mean, if you got the money to burn on them, fine, go for it. But I got so much money tied up in this, and I'm starting to get, down on the bottom of the pot there. So I got to start cutting back where I can. And plus, things like you said, 3D printer, that's cost me $50 to fix in parts. It's always something. It's a never-ending expense in the train room, as you well know. Fortunately, I have extra track. I have extra flex track, and I have some extra road bed. I'm pretty sure I got enough to do this. If not, I'll have to buy a few pieces. And I have the track pins already, so that's good. And I also have the connectors, track connectors. And I've got a ton of feeder lines, drop feeders. So, and this will make it a lot easier to do the feeders too. I could actually do it while I'm standing up. And, it's just so much easier. And the whole thing is 10 inches wide. So it's not crazy wide or anything. And I would have been nice to do something kind of like Dave Thurber did on his, where it had like a valley or like a highway or something, but I didn't want to get that much involved into it. I just wanted to get away to get the trains from that point to that point without derailing. So, anyway, I gotta quit yakking here. We're still on part 2, and I'll be back again tomorrow, same video. And we'll start laying down some of the track, and I'll show you what I've done when I've gotten somewhere. So, thanks for watching, and stay tuned. I'll be back shortly. Okay, so we're back, and I had to make another modification over here with the hinge plates. I forgot it's got to pull away from the track when it raises up. So you have to elevate the hinge in order to do that. And of course, James Galton, he demonstrated that with his, and somehow or another I completely missed that. Or forgot or something. So anyway, we got that straightened out. I did recurve the tracks. I think I'm probably running close to 26 degrees radius. I'm still 30 on that one. Actually, I might have even expanded it to 32 because I did widen it. So I still got to lay the track there yet, but at least I got the road bed down. I got a solid road bed over here on the tip up. Now there's going to be a turnout here. And the turnout, and I had to rebuild all this too to get up to the second level because there was no way I can get the right radius on the original one, so I shortened everything. And I've got this all plastered so far. I've got to paint it tomorrow and do some minor fill-in. Like I said, once again, I also rearranged the radiuses on this too. Like I said, I'm running 30 on the outside one for the passenger. Looks like 26 to maybe 28 in the middle freight rail. And probably 24 on the inside rail, which is fine. So I'm pretty sure that my steam engine will make it around all 3 curves if need be. I also shortened up the siding and made it even now for the sugar line. So, and then I think what I'll do with this old ramp, I could have taken out, I think I'm going to make a service road out of it. So we'll paint it up and weather it out, make it look like a dirt road. So that's the whole plan for that. And I spent the whole day doing that, believe it or not. It's 20 after 7, and I think I started around noon. So it's been a busy day. And, of course, I got to move things around. I had a church over here. Can't have the church there anymore, so I got to move the church all the way down on the other end. Matter of fact, we'll just take a walk out there. Telling you, it's definitely getting time for a new camera. I'll start looking for one pretty soon. Anyway, I moved the church over here. I've got to get power to yet to light it up. We'll do that another day. And heading back over here. I really haven't done anything else other than what I've been working on here, which of course is important. So we'll pick this up again tomorrow. This is still going to be considered part 2, and will probably stay part 2 until its completion. So until then, we'll see you. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. And it's 8 o'clock in the evening. Oh, I've been on this all day today, since noon anyway. I laid all my track. And the new ramp is built and painted. This is where my new turnout's going to be. So we've eliminated that whole mishmash crossing thing. That was just totally useless. So we've done away with that. I was going to put the track in the middle, but I found I ran into a slight problem. My track nails cannot be found. So I had to order some new ones. Now, there's no hobby centers here in Sebring that I'm aware of anyway. So I just went ahead and ordered them online. I should have them hopefully in about a week or less. So as soon as I get them, I could run this track in and then run the feeders to that, and we'll be operational again. Now I also did run all this track here, all 3 tracks. Went back almost to that transformer looking thing. And then on these other 2 tracks went right up to where the Amtrak station is. I also, like I said, I redid the radiuses. The radius is a little sharper. Or supposed to be anyway. Guess we'll find out when I do the test run with the steam engine. But anyway, it's all good and solid now. And over here, that's what I said, I'm going to pin all this. I've got it glued already, but I'm going to pin it too. And that is, there's a piece of wood under here. I've got a piece of 1 by 2, I guess. And so that's an anchoring point for that. And of course there's wood on this side over here. So anchoring won't be an issue. That's why I said I want to nail everything right on this because there's wood underneath this. And like I said, the same thing, there's wood over here too, so anchoring is not going to be an issue. Now I dropped all my feeders in, all my tracks are live. Yay, except for the top. I got a bunch of feeders due on the top, and I think I've got 1 more down on the other end. But other than that, everything on this end is all fed. So we're good electrically. And I said I'll run feeders on the tilt up as soon as I get the track laid in. And I can't do that till I get the nails. So I'm going to wrap this up as part 2. And part 3 will probably be in about a week or so. After I get the track nails in. And get the track down, and then I'll show that, and then we'll do a test run and see how everything works. Yay! So, as usual, let me turn it around over here. As usual, keep it on the rails. And we'll see you again real soon. Stay tuned, like I said, in about a week for part 3. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya. Bye.